PSPers! It's your handheld junkie, Mike Martins, bringing you another PSP review. Since I've been doing PSP reviews and just talking about it and kind of getting back into the whole, I call it retro gaming, but my friend here doesn't consider it to be retro gaming. And the number one question I've been being asked the most is it worth buying a PSP in 2018? Well, this is what we got for you. Tune in. PSP for me, it was my first real portable. I've had Game Boys, I've had Game Boys Advances, and then it was Game Boy Advance. That was
Game Boy Advance SP.
But then it was the SP, right? But then this came
DS.
out. This came out before the DS.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the one I got. This is the one I fell in love with. This is the one I spent time playing. This is the one where I've cleared more games on. This system I played more than any other system ever, even more than my first Nintendo. I've spent a lot of time playing the PSP. I do have an emotional attachment to it because I did spend a lot of time with it. But as the system is becoming retro. It is
becoming retro.
It's becoming retro. So we're getting to a point where the system is becoming retro. He doesn't agree that it's retro yet.
Not right now. I mean, it's still pretty modern. I mean, it's like calling a PS2 retro. That's weird. You don't call a PS2 retro.
Right.
But like a PS1, sure, you can maybe call
get
that
away
retro?
with, because it had the memory stick portable to save games, and that was kind of a hassle. So it's kind of makes
N64, Dreamcast, stuff like that. That's retro gaming.
That's clunky games.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the Nintendo 64.
So anyways, PSP, it's heading towards retroism. I think retro gaming will make a comeback.
Oh no,
I
think that it's like already a thing. Like, people like to play their old games and stuff. I have my Nintendo 64 at home. I play it almost every single day.
I think it's like, what do you think of emulation?
It depends. Like, if you just want to play the games, I think it's alright. I'd still prefer, shelling out money for a physical copy of the game that I have. But I think that, it's like, oh, I want to play this really old game that I'm probably not going to be able to ever get, because it's so rare and it costs so much money. So, just getting like an emulator of that's fine. Right.
It's like buying a classic 1940s comic and reading it on a tablet instead of opening and damaging the comic book.
Yeah, it is like that in a way. It's like, because like a lot of collectors, they like to have their box copy and they like to have their playable copy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's for heavy-duty collectors.
But
finding sealed PSP games nowadays are really hard. So if you're a hardcore collector and you're looking for sealed stuff, I found two or three sealed things on eBay. These are disappearing on eBay.
Really?
I'm not finding anything that's worth picking up. I'm finding a lot of 7 games in a but they're
most of them are sports games.
Right. Or they're asking a ridiculous amount for it.
Yeah.
So I do see this going up in value. I do see it. All in all, I think it's worth owning a PSP, in my opinion. I do have an emotional attachment to it, but I do think it still has what it needs to play. Yeah, you could play games on your phone, but...
Oh, no, don't play games on your phone.
Okay, would you rather play on the phone or this?
I would much rather play on a PSP than my phone.
Okay.
Like, the quality of games that you get on your phone, they're all right. But, I mean, compared to, like, a PSP, which is, like, a dedicated handheld system.
It's not a camera. It's not a phone. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's a dedicated system.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So, anyways, it does store MP3 still. It still stores, depending on your memory.
You can store anything on it because it has a memory stick.
Yeah, so
you can store files.
You could plug it into your computer and you could transfer over movies and stuff, MP4s. Still go on the internet with it, so... I think it still holds up. Is it worth getting in 2018? I believe it is. And you?
Oh, absolutely. I'd get it in 2018. But like I said, like if you're thinking about getting it for like, your 13-year-old kid, I don't think that he'd enjoy it. I think he'd have more fun with a 3DS. But if you're like, man, I want to play some of these old games that I haven't played or heard of in a long time, and you just want the feeling of holding a PSP, because it's a very unique experience holding a PSP. Because like with the PSP, you have the joystick and you have all that kind of stuff. My only irk with the PSP is you only have the one joystick.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned that.
They fixed that with the Go, I believe.
The Vita did.
Yeah, the Vita.
And the Go, I think the Go had it too.
Yeah, I think the Go had the two joysticks, which that's the only thing that I like about the Go. Because the issue with the Go, there's no UMDs. There's nothing there. It's all online purchases.
Transferable.
Yeah, no, and that means, so it's like, all right, I have this PSP that I have this God of War PSP that I've had for a long time. I want to get a PS Go. Oh look, I can't play any of the games because I have to buy them again because it's online, and that was the downfall of the PS Go. Like, I think that it would have been a really, really good system if they would have kept you being able to play your PSP games that you have in physical copy. I always prefer physical copies.
That's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. What's the point?
Yeah.
Buying it twice. I mean, what's the point, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. From a collector's standpoint, this is worth it. Like, you can get a PSP and, you can start collecting for it. It's one of those hurdles if you're into video game collecting and stuff like that. You can start off with the PSP. There's plenty of games and stuff like it for it. And, yeah, I mean... Like,
so in your opinion, for collector standpoint, it's got...
From a collector standpoint, it's definitely worth it. Like, there's multiple versions of the PSP that you can get. There's the 1000, 2000, 3000. There's the collector's edition.
The Go.
Yeah, there's also the PS Go, which I have opinions about that. But no, like I think that the PSP is a fine system on its own.